The chair recognizes the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Dold, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday it was announced that a small business in my district would be closing 2 locations in Illinois and transferring those jobs out of state. I believe this time they're taking them to Texas. But we've seen this story over and over again, whether it be taking jobs to Wisconsin, whether it's taking jobs to Indiana. I believe this speaks volumes about the economic situation, not only in Illinois, but in our nation, and the policies that I believe that this body must put in place in order to empower small business owners, job creators, all across the land to be able to have confidence, invest in their business, and grow jobs. You see, the difference in the state of Illinois is that we raised in Illinois taxes on businesses over 45% this last year. It's put enormous pressure on small businesses throughout the state, and I would argue all job creators throughout the state. What's even worse, Mr. Speaker, is that those companies that have more employees and a little bit higher clout have been able to rattle the saber and call the governor and say, we're going to pick up and leave the state of Illinois and take jobs elsewhere. And while we want to make sure that we keep those jobs in Illinois, the unfortunate thing is we've got some crony capitalism going on. So the state is going to go over and bend over backwards to make sure some of the larger employers stay in the state of Illinois. The problem is that small businesses, the ones that I talk to each and every day, when they call the governor, they don't get their phone calls returned. It indeed puts a greater burden on small businesses. And as you know, Mr. Speaker, 2/3 of all net new jobs are created by small businesses all across the land. This is the economic engine that we need to make sure that we are supporting, to make sure that we are putting more Americans back to work. There are 29 million small businesses in our nation. If we can create an environment right here in Washington, D.C., and you hear me say it's creating an environment, it's not creating jobs because the government doesn't create jobs, it's the private sector that does. But what the government can do is create an environment, whether it be through regulation, whether it be through comprehensive tax reform, whether it be through a variety of measures that enable those 29 million small businesses in our nation to create a single job. If half of those businesses created a job, Mr. Speaker, think about where we'd be then. This is why the American people want Congress to act. And I think we've got a responsibility to reach across the aisle and find common ground. We need to get rid of the crony capitalism. We need to create a level playing field where businesses all across the land can compete and can win. Because this is an opportunity for Republicans and Democrats alike to put forward comprehensive tax reform, something that has been touted by the Simpson-Bowles Commission, touted by the President, touted by others. Well, it's time for action. We want to make sure that we move forward with this. We want to make sure businesses can open their doors and create a level playing field. At the end of the day, it's about finding that common ground. It's about having government get out of the way and enabling the private sector to move forward so that we can all see America get back to work. With that, I yield back.